After the success of space travel, I know everyone will be curious about the next earbuds Moondrop will put out. So we're gonna compare this planar True Wireless earbuds with my best picks and the space travel so you can see if this is the right pick for you. Let's get into it. Selamat pagi! Good morning everyone, Kenneth here and welcome to my review of the Moondrop Golden Ages. A $70 earbud with the same shape as Moondrop Nickel Cake, just this time around it uses planar drivers, something we've never seen at this price point. As always, you can find my full disclosure down below. Basically, you're always getting my own honest opinion here, and if you appreciate what I do, please use the affiliate links there to buy stuff because I may get a small commission at no extra cost to you and it really helps me out. So thank you so much and let's get started immediately with the most important aspect, the sound quality. So first of all, the volume surprised me here because this goes very, very loud. Like 30% is enough for indoors, and I'd only use 50-60% max outdoors with ANC on, and this is probably the loudest under 100 earbuds I've heard in recent memory. And talking about the sound quality, actually here we are getting a mid-focus sound that doesn't change significantly with the 3 EQ presets available to choose in the app. And we're gonna talk about the new 1.1 update a little bit later. So starting with the default reference EQ, this one is fine for most people. I personally use monitor EQ that reduces the bass a tiny bit. And for bass head EQ, well, it increases the sound bass just a tiny bit. But how does it actually sound? Let's compare it first with the one you're all familiar with, the Moondrop Space Travel here. And touching on EQs real quick, the Golden Ages bass response lie in between the space travel EQs here. So it's got less bass than default EQ, but a bit more than monitor EQ. For this comparison, I'll put both on monitor EQ, which is what I personally prefer, and I'll always use the best codec supported, which is LDAC at the time of comparison on the Golden Ages and AAC on the space travel. And firstly, with Golden Ages at 30% volume, we're looking at around 60-70% on the space travel to get the same loudness. In this amazing new album from Honkai Star Rail's Robin, I can hear the space travel focuses much more on the vocal itself, positioning it more forward, while Golden Ages on the other hand plays the instruments with more detail, more presence instead. Not necessarily having the biggest soundstage, but they do sound more separated and detailed thanks to the quick response enabled by the planar driver. And just really, the star of the show in the Golden Ages is in the mids. They sound full-bodied, not only on the vocals, but also the instruments. So instead of an airy sound you get on the space travel, the Golden Ages feel meaty. It resolves more texture, making it a bit easier to differentiate, for example, electric guitar to bass guitar in a busy chorus. But having said that, I have to admit the space travel and dynamic drivers in general do give out better sub-bass rumble, which is purely the advantage of the driver design, and we can see that being the case in the next comparisons. So moving on, let's compare it to the Soundpeats Engine 4 here, my long-time sound quality recommendations for $50. And starting with the volume, generally the Golden Ages are about 20-30% louder. But yeah, now that both earbuds support LDAC, the ground is more even again by the time of comparison, and I'll be using my custom EQ here, which you can find in my review of the Engine 4. As for the song I'm comparing, I want to take Scream by Dreamcatcher for a spin and talk about how this and rock songs in general sound better with V-shaped tuning, at least in my preference, which exactly where the Engine 4 shines the most. Instead, the mid-focus Golden Ages has much smaller soundstage projection, much less treble sparkle and bass oomph. The focus is really on the mids and the vocals. And sure, it still sounds great, not as fatiguing in long listening sessions too, but damn, the Engine 4 is so much fun. The difference here actually reminds me of mid-focus earbuds in the past. If you remember the One More ComfoBuds Pro, Soundpeats Sonic, or even the AirPods Pros, they have a similar tuning that excels in acoustics, strings, and more slow-paced vocal-first songs. But the thing is, for pop and rock, they sure are not as exciting to listen to. And this is actually the same case with Soundcore Liberty 4 and C, which is my go-to ANC recommendation still till this date. The EQ I recommend in my review comes back to that V-shaped sound with lots of treble detail and punchy bass, whereas with the Golden Ages, it's a different tuning altogether. that caters to a different audience. Last but not least, I want to bring the AirPods Pro 2 here since they have a similar tuning. And let's take Even Horizon by Yona here, which is a K-pop band song that I've been really into lately. And firstly, the volume is similar to Engine 4 and Liberty 4 NC. The Golden Ages is around 20% louder. But here, I think the Golden Ages does not beat the AirPods Pro, but it gets close. In terms of details and the full-bodied vocal presentation, it gets the job done. But to AirPods' credit, it does pump more bass, which makes songs more fun to listen to, at least to my preference. Because I know there are people who like just enough bass to get along, and if you're one of those people, then the Golden Ages could be the one for you. But there's one major, and I mean really major change occurred more recently with the 1.1.0 firmware update, which added 2 more EQs. And I'll try to start adding graphs into my audio reviews here, although I still can't do it myself, so huge shout out to Pragmatic Audio for the graph. As you can see, these new EQs bring significant sound change from the previous set, especially on the mid to low end. To make it simple, basically they fill in the need for bass in pop and rock songs. Personally, I like the 5128 Target more than the Secret because it doesn't mess too much with the mids and upper mids, just significantly boosts the mid bass to sub bass range. So it's just like bringing the fun back into Golden Ages, and you can listen to songs like Batter Up by Baby Monster, Sunny by Yorushika, or just name any EDM song and you'll prefer this EQ for sure. It's bassy, it's still detailed, but the treble roll off doesn't make you feel fatigued for long listening periods. I used to think the Golden Ages is a niche product for those who wanted a mid-focus sound, but then this update changed everything. It can be mid-focus, it can also be balanced, making it a versatile choice if you want something that sounds better than a space travel. Sadly though, I can't recommend this for the other features it's got. You know what I'm talking about? It's the ANC and Transparency. Unsurprisingly, noise cancellation is similar to Neko Cake or Space Travel. If there is any improvement, it's very mild, which still works fine when you're outside. There's no noticeable hissing most importantly, but you can bet that anything else at this point will block more noise. My problem actually lies within the Transparency mode because it is very noisy. It emphasizes fan sounds quite prominently, so you'll always feel your environment is noisier than they actually are. So really only use it when absolutely necessary, and then you can switch back. And by the way, the earbuds always power with ANC on, and actually you can customize the cycle, either switching Transparency to ANC only or add ANC off in the mix. The problem is, as of May 2024, both the Golden Ages and Space Travel, and I assume all the Moondrop products that has app support, have moved over to Moondrop Link 2.0 app, which is available in Android only. So you might need to borrow a friend's phone for at least a one-time setup. And also there's controls customization, but you don't really need it because there's no volume control to be added. Now for the things you cannot customize, there's the usual Moondrop VTuber voice prompt that can't be turned off. And actually the Golden Ages support LDAC by default. You control that in your phone's Bluetooth setting, but sadly it's been turned off with the 1.1 firmware update. And there's no multi-point to be seen here. Okay, so touching on build quality a little bit now. This is the exact same shell as Moondrop Neko Cake, so it's just probably very familiar. Not the best, especially at this price, but at least the lid clips and stays open, and there's a pairing button at the back. There's an included case as well, which I got on right here. The new design here mimics Sony Walkman of the olden days, which probably exists before my existence, but I quite like the design. Just the way the case is covering them is a bit questionable. And so far, after a month or so, the prints on the cover case has started to wear here. But going into the battery inside now, actually these have the same exact capacity as Space Travel and Neko Cake, but perhaps due to the more efficient chip inside, we have 6 hours of playtime on AAC at 50% volume, which means you can get a bit more at 30% volume. Now keep in mind, using ANC will take around 1 to 2 hours off, and LDAC will also shave another hour. Although like I said, with 1.1 update, the LDAC is disabled, so that's less of a concern. And in total, we have at least 4 to 5 hours with ANC on, which is bare minimum to have a good enough experience, still in my opinion. And you get around 3 times more charge in the case. Finally, connectivity wise, so far it's been good on both Android and iOS devices. And not to forget here, the Golden Ages does have gaming mode at 4 taps. It'll tell you gaming mode and music mode, and it does lower the latency to 150 milliseconds range, which is as low as the codec gets. Although This is very, very cool. The earbuds support the even lower latency LC3 codec, but I can't seem to access it in any of my Android devices. So maybe in the future, I'll try to update this topic. But anyway, we are approaching the end right now. So subscribe if you found this helpful, and let's check out the microphone test right now.
Okay, so welcome to the microphone test, everyone. And actually, I am not going outdoors where there's a lot of cars and everything because even inside, the mic is just not improved at all since the Neko Cake days is a space travel. Yeah, what can I say, right? But the thing is, I really, really like this design. It could probably serve as a like decoration inside my house. But I have one more thing to say, but let's switch over to the phone microphone and we can talk about it while finishing the video.
Okay, so now we are recording with the phone front microphone, so you have an idea of what it really sounds like. It's not very, very noisy, but the AC noise here is actually, quite annoying. But yeah, one thing I wanted to say is the design of the earbuds itself, because this stem is actually quite long. So when you open your mouth like this, it can rub over your cheek and then it produces sound that you can hear inside your head, and that's quite annoying. So that's one thing that maybe Moondrop can improve in the future, just to make that, like, tweak the design a little bit. But otherwise, that's pretty much it for the review. What do you think of the Moondrop Golden Ages? Let me know down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Here's my review for the Moondrop Space Travel. Still worth it for 20 bucks in my opinion. But if you want other alternative, check out this video right here. So thank you so much for watching. I'm Kenneth. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.